Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to take this right here. Small piece of galvanized hardware cloth. I would say quarter-inch mesh, super tiny. And we're going to make us an apparatus to sift out little baby shark's teeth and find other little cool bones and stuff in the river. The theory behind it is you dump sand and gravel and whatever you scoop up off the bottom into this, and you shake it. All your sand falls out the bottom, and you're only left with the stuff that's over a quarter-inch, and then you can sift through it. What we're going to do, we're going to use this old cypress wood, because cypress don't never rot. It lasts for 100 years. That's what we're going to make the frame out of. We're going to put the wire on the bottom of it. Then we're going to take these here Dollar Tree, a dollar and a quarter tree, I should say, and make some floats to go around it. So when we're in the water, we can just let it float right there with us. And in the process of that, instead of it floating away, another dollar and a quarter paracord. Make a little loop around it, tie it to your belt loop and your short pants, and you'll be good to go. It'll be right there with you. Once again, more dollars and quarters. This here is going to go around there and going to go around that, and some staples and some skill saws and some screws, and y'all just watch and see what happens. You're going to have to improve. You're going to be my film crew now. See where I'm pointing down here? See this wire? Yeah. All right, this is for the end piece. This ain't for the length. This is for the width. What you want to do is put that right there, put that right there, and then you know how wide your wire is, okay? It ain't a bad idea to check and make sure it's the same on both sides, because sometimes wire is a little crooked. You want to put a mark, the width of your wire, and then the thickness of your board is 3/4 of an inch. 3/4 of an inch times 2 is 1.5 inches. So you take 1.5 inches away from the thickness of your wire for your first cut, and then you make another cut the same thickness. In effect, what will happen is you will have a 3/4 of an inch lap on either side of the board, because this board, which I got to cut, is going to butt up to this, and you want this to have at least a 3/4 of an inch all the way around the bottom of the wood on the wire, so your staples can hang, because you don't want your wire falling off. Now, because this is all built out of scrap, old cypress from a sawmill, as you can see, it ain't the same width. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this as a template. Put as a mark here, mark there, connect the dots, rip this board down to the same width as this one. You get normal pressure treated one before, you don't have to go through this process. And as you can see, because it's from a sawmill, 3/4 of an inch thick here, nothing down here. But when you cut it down, it's a little thicker. That's good enough to put your staples into. So this is the next step in the process. Okay. See, what we did is we eliminated that thin edge, and now we have a uniform 3/4 inch thickness. Nice, slick, smooth, and pretty. This side still got a bad edge, but that don't matter because that ain't going to be holding the wire. And I'll probably cut that off anyway. Now the next step is the length of your wire. 24 inches. We'll make one at 24 and one at 48. In case you're wondering why I used a 7/8 paddle bit, because I didn't have a 3/4 inch one. But 3/4 of an inch is the thickness of our wood. So that gives you a guide to go by. You line up the edge of your bit with the edge of your wood, and you'll be dead in the center of your next 3/8 board, which reduces the chances of things splitting and breaking and aggravating you. So that's why I use this bit. I only go this deep because that's enough that these little screws won't split the ciphers. Because if you just bam into wood, sometimes the wood will split and separate. So you want to do a little pilot hole. But instead of having 2 drills and a real drill bit, you just use a little paddle bit with a quick change in, put it in your little impact drill, and you're good to go. It saves a lot of steps, it saves a lot of time, it saves a lot of aggravation. Now, I have installed 6 screws in each one of the boards. And remember, when we cut this, we set this up for the wire to go over this and over that. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to take this board and this board, like so. Line them up kind of, sort of. You don't want to rush it. Make sure you get your edges as close to square as you can. That's how I like to do it. Make sure you got everything flush. You can feel it with your finger. You don't need to bother with a square and all that, as long as you got nice square cuts. You want to just get them barely flush. You don't want to overdo it, or you'll definitely split your wood, like I just did. Alright, that's one side. Flip the little jewel over. Now, if you'll notice right here, I don't know if you can see it or not. See, the board don't line up, because sometimes the boards are a little warped, a little bow to them. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull this board over this way and then push it out this way, line it up, and it'll be fine. Once it hits the water, it'll stay that way forever. Okay, this is our frame roughly. Now what we're going to do, we're going to find us a relatively flat spot. handy dandy slap stapler. I just use normal galvanized staples. If you want it to last for 20 years, I recommend you use stainless staples because you are going to be exposing it to water. What you do is just lay your wire on it. Make sure you got your edges like you want them before you put the first staple in, because you don't really want to tear it apart, because that ain't good for it. Get it like you want. And then proceed to staple it. You can use an electric stapler. You can use the kind where you hold them in your hand and squeeze the trigger. But this is the kind I got. This is the kind I like, and it works for me. Now what we have is a box with wire in the bottom. It's nice and tight. If we don't get stormed on first, it's raining pretty good. You know how hurricanes are. Even after they pass, the weather hangs around for a while. We're using this here parachute cord. What I'm gonna do, if you can see it, is I'm gonna run it through one of the holes right up against the board. About that long. And then, how long do you want this dragging behind you in the water? I'd say approximately that far. So we'll call that the center. And we'll go that far again. And then what we're going to do is we're going to hold this, and the board's roughly 4 inches, 3/4 of an inch underneath it and around the top. So we're going to make it about 8 inches longer than that, roughly. It ain't got to be precise or exact. It's just something to sift rocks with. You have a little flare up like this, which happens sometimes. You can't really poke it back through the hole. So the simple solution is to melt it down and make it little again. Pull your strings the same length out, so they're kind of uniform there. It don't matter really, because all you're going to do is have a loop here. Later on, you can put your little carabiner or something like that in it. You just clip it on to the back of your pants or tie a little knot in it. Simple. Like that. That's good enough because it'll hold. If you're going to make a knot, then you want to do a better knot than that. Take these two pieces, staple them. Okay, that's the hard part of it. Next step is these little pool noodles. We're going to take them and we're going to put 2 pieces on each side. That's your flotation. That will help. You can use handy dandy box knife. You have one available. to cut it with. But if you don't have one, a pocket knife works. I prefer the pocket knife because it's got a longer blade and makes better cuts. Because you can cut it all the way through in one cut. You don't have to cut it twice so it don't look as rough. Once you get one cut like you want it, verify it's like you want it. Take the next piece, line it up with the first one that's like you want. That one from the factory ain't even cut square, but we'll cut it square. Okay. Now you got two of them, roughly approximately that long. Little cheap zip ties. You want to go through the hole of your wire as close to the edge of your wood as you can get it, because the further you are away from the wood, the more stuff is going to get trapped in it. You want it about that high approximately. So your zip ties. And pull it tight. You want it tight enough they don't pop out. Just like this. If you go ahead and connect your zip ties together but don't get them super tight, then you can just run your floats through it without trying to hold it all together at one time. You can even start in the middle if you like to. Pull them tight. That way they don't float away later. Once again, take your handy little backs, side cutters, whatever you have handy. You get a pair of them super chicken shears or something, you can even use that. Another thing you can do, you don't have to, but it might save you in the long run, because once you're done with all that, flip it over, take your little scrap piece of wood that you had left and connect one across here, just to make it a little bit more stable. Another thing you can do is do a 45 on each corner like that. That helps to tie your pieces in together and makes them a little stronger, so you're not just relying on them 6 screws on each side. But everything you put under it is going to be something that's going to block the sand from falling through, so you want to take that into consideration also, because you want your sand to vacate as quickly as possible. Because normally when you're doing stuff like that, it's summertime and it's hot. But I don't think I'm going to do that this time, because I'm going to leave it flat so it'll fit flat in the bottom of the boat. I think that'll be just fine, just like it is. Unless you're quick and easy, drag behind you in the water a little sifting rack, for lack of a better word. A classifier is what the gold people would call it, because you're classifying substrates from one size down to the next. But that right there will stay with you in the water. It won't come loose. You can, just a few staples is all it takes to hold it. And it's good. None of them will pop up except for that one right there that was crooked anyway. But that's it. Instant float. All right, ladies and gentlemen. That is it for the low price of 2 packs of zip ties. I got 4 left. There's 8 in a pack, so it took a pack and a half. So we'll say 2 packs at $1.25 a piece. That was $2.50. And then 4 pool noodles at $1.25 a piece. That's another $5. There's $7.50. I forgot about this. And a paracord. So for $8.75, a couple of pieces of scrap wood and a piece of hardware cloth that I just happen to have laying around. We got it. And here shortly, in one of our future videos, hopefully we'll get some shark's teeth. Y'all have a great day. And don't forget, like and subscribe if you'd like to see more. The $8.75 shark's tooth catcher. Y'all give it a try.